Hi there, welcome back to another Drive and Talk with me, Ren. And in this video I want to talk about tarot. I want to talk about the tarot as a tool for self-improvement, self-growth, personal development, and self-reflection. Now, I think everybody knows what tarot cards are, right? Back in the day, they were used for divination, fortune telling, magic, all that kind of stuff. Of course, that's not what it's used for today. Today, many people, including many famous actors, creators, use the tarot for personal growth and self-reflection. How does it work? First of all, what is the tarot? Now, the tarot deck is a deck of cards. I believe it's 78 cards, and they're divided into the major arcana and the minor arcana. And basically, there are cards where every card has a specific meaning, right? If you follow the traditional tarot meaning. When you lay down cards, you pull cards randomly, put them down on what we call a spread, and then you can read the spread by looking at the individual cards, the meaning of the cards, and then you put all the cards together to create a story, a narrative. A lot of times a spread is used to answer a specific question. For example, is he still in love with me? Is she still in love with me? So if you go to a tarot reader, she can put down a spread of cards, and then the tarot reader can look at the cards and say something about that question. Now, that is also a classic use of the tarot. It's not the use of the tarot that I want to talk about right now. So, in modern times, right now, as I use it and many others use it, it's used as a tool for self-reflection and also a tool to trigger the subconscious. Because in life, what we do every day, when I go to work, when I'm at the office, when somebody's asking me questions, I'm using my, let's call it, thinking brain, right? It's the brain that uses logic, that uses deduction to find problems, right? Practical problems. Like, for example, this is the budget. We need to hire 3 people, they have to have these qualifications, etc. How do we do that? Create a plan, whatever. That is the thinking mind. The subconscious is something that is very hard to stimulate, to trigger, especially if you use the thinking brain a lot, okay? If you're a monk and you live in a cave and you meditate 10 hours a day, then of course it's much easier to tap into the subconscious. For normal people who have a normal job, who do like normal things, whatever normal is, it's harder. So that's when the tarot comes in. The tarot is a tool that can be used to trigger the subconscious by just looking at a card and just, instead of trying to rationalize what is on the card, for example, an illustration of a page of cups, which is basically a boy holding a cup, and there are surroundings, maybe a river, maybe some trees, and you can see there's a certain expression in the boy's face, and everything in that picture has meaning. The color of the clothes the boy is wearing, is he holding the cup in his right hand, in his left hand, is his facial expression one of wonder, is he pondering, right? Are there birds in the sky? Is the sky blue? Is it gray? So there are many things in that picture. Now, if you look at the classic tarot card meanings, then everything on that card has a specific meaning that has been set by the person who created the deck. Now, the most classic tarot deck is the Rider-Waite deck, and basically what you need to know is that it has the cards have a very specific meaning, and literally every detail on every tarot card has a specific meaning that has been set in stone. Well, not in stone, they're cards, but you understand what I mean. Now, in modern day cards, there is a modern day variation of that specific card. So that Page of Cups in, for example, a tarot deck based on cats can have a completely different picture. You know, I don't know, I'm just making this up, but maybe a cat who is drinking from a bowl of water. That could be the Page of Cups for that specific deck. Now, you can still keep in mind what the Page of Cups classical meaning is, or you could just look at the card and basically not try to rationalize that picture, but just look at the card and just try to feel what the card might depict, right? And automatically your mind will connect the things you were thinking about, the things you're thinking about, the things you're worried about, the things you're afraid of, the topics that occupy your mind, the feelings you're feeling in that particular moment, and will connect them to the card. So I always say, it doesn't matter what card. It doesn't matter what card you pull. It's not about the card. It's about your state of mind, your state of your subconscious right now, the things that are happening in your life. The card will just trigger it in any way. So whether it's a cat sipping water from a bowl, or a samurai knight sitting on a dragon, right, as the Knight of Swords depiction of that particular cards in another deck, it doesn't matter, you know. What does it mean? It means what you feel that it means. You understand? So every card will trigger some sort of different response in you, but whatever the response is, it has some connection to what you're feeling and thinking at that moment. The struggles you're going through, maybe situation at work, maybe with your relationship, can be all kinds of things. So what we're using the tarot for is to trigger the subconscious and to practice looking at the cards and looking at situations without the thinking mind. So more from a subconscious perception, but also more like using your feelings, using your gut, and basically separating logic, assumptions from observation, right? It's the same thing with meditation. When you're observing your thoughts instead of becoming your thoughts, you can observe yourself. You can observe yourself and your feelings instead of becoming those feelings. You can observe feelings of anger instead of becoming angry. That's what you do if you don't know how to do this. Then you become angry. Or you can feel the feelings of anger rising, but you can still decide whether to be angry or not. So that concept is what you can use tarot for, to nurture that, right? So that's how I use the tarot. And I use the tarot by pulling a daily card. So every day at work, I have a tarot deck right there. And I just pull a card. And I just have a special stand. I put it there next to my laptop, and I just leave it there. I'll look at the card 100 times a day. And when I look at the card, the first moment I have a specific feeling about the card, right? And I leave it there, and throughout the day, things happen, and I look at the card, and sometimes, you know, they're related to the card. Maybe there's some emotion, some feelings that I can relate to the card. Sometimes there's not. Sometimes I don't know what the card means. I have no clue, and then I have to like really look inside myself and think about, you know, what's going on around me. So that's a very interesting way to stimulate not the thinking mind, but more like your feelings and your subconscious. Now, a lot of different people use tarot cards in a very different way if they want to use it for personal growth and for self-reflection. But basically, that's what a tarot card is, if you use it this way. It's reflecting your thoughts and your feelings, but it's using a specific shape, a specific image to trigger you to think more about what that means, right? What your feelings mean, what your emotions mean. It's using the image to help you practice that. So that is how I use the tarot every day. And it's one of the ways you can use the tarot for self-reflection, for growth. So yeah, I'm just curious what you think about that. There's not a lot of videos about this subject, so yeah, I'm interested. Maybe you use the tarot in a different way. Maybe you've never heard of tarot cards. You know, Google them. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Maybe you completely disagree with me. Awesome. Let me know in the comments and let's talk about it. I'm always up for new things to learn. Have a great day. See you in the next video.